I'm constantly teaching about 10x. And 10x is about setting goals that will lead you to an extraordinary life. But the beauty of setting big goals, that's when you let go of your past self. But setting them is not going to let go. You have to commit to them. That's when you let go of your past self. So if we're letting the present results dictate what we're doing, guess what? We're not creating anything different than our programming. And what are results? Results are a manifestation of our actions, and our actions are a manifestation of our programming. Now, somebody will say to me, it's my attitude. Well, who's in control of that? Who's in control of your attitude? Yeah. So you're choosing to be all out on your attitude. You're choosing to be a victim. So we've got not to look at, I have a great attitude as a badge of honor. Look at it, that's how you influence people. That's how you impact people. So we want to set big goals. Now, this first part is probably the best definition I've ever heard of greatness. And it was from a book called Greatness. And I can't remember the author's name. Bob, do you remember the author's name? Can't remember either. But he says, greatness is defined by selfless exceptionalism. I couldn't agree more with him. But in order to have selfless exceptionalism, we have to ask ourselves, what do I really want to achieve? That's where it starts. What do I want to achieve? Now, the want, if I'm in the way of the slides, just tell me to. But the want has to be authentic. So Kevin, if I asked you what you wanted, or you asked me what I wanted, and then I started justifying it, then I'm coming from need. We don't justify our wants to anybody. This is what I want. Why? Because I just want it. See, when we're justifying and saying, you know, Kevin, I want this want because it'll be better for my family, and it's an unauthentic want, it has no power. So whatever you want is your want. It's nobody else's business, but our want creates abundance. Now, when it's authentic, you're never going to worry about what anybody else is thinking. That's the beautiful part of the want. You're never going to worry. When I went out on my own, when I left my old company, I had all this hate because people are like, how can you do that? You're next in line. And I was like, listen, that's your want. That wasn't my want. You know, and I own my want. And when you own your want, you're going to change your life. But most people's want is not even their want. It's somebody else's want. Like I'm constantly working with Jenna because Jenna talks to me about she wants to take the summer off with her kids. I said, why don't we create a system that you don't work in the summer? We can do that because that's what she wants. And so what Vicky wants is what Vicky wants, not what I want for Vicky. But when we're not operating from our authentic want, we're going to go on this treadmill. And that's where the old program comes in. So I want you to look at your goal, and that's why I asked you, is that what you think you could achieve, or is that what you want to achieve? Now, then you've got to ask yourself, how bad do I want to reach this goal? How bad? I don't care what you did yesterday. I don't care what you did last month. You could change your want and connect to it, where you say, this is what I want more than anything else in the world. I'm always using that story of Socrates, where a gentleman comes to his house and says, I want to be as great of a philosopher as you are. Now I want you to think about your want. I want everyone just to listen to my voice, but think about your want. I want to be as great of a philosopher as you. And so Socrates takes him back to this lake, and he says, kneel down. So the gentleman kneels down. He grabs him by the neck, and he holds his head underwater. Holds his head. Then he brings his head up, and he says, what were you thinking? He says, I just wanted to breathe. And he says, if you want to be as great of a philosopher as me, you have to want it as badly as you want to breathe. So how badly do you want your want? See, business demands courage. Freedom demands courage. Now, if you think once you're financially free, that means living a courage-free life, you're going to lose it all. You're going to lose it all. It's not about living courage-free. It's about being more and more courageous. And what if I told all of you that you got to do hard much better? What if I said that? You got to do hard much better. You know, when you do hard much better, you're growing your identity. Because great things demand toughness. And if you don't want to build that toughness, your results will reflect it. That doesn't mean you have to be less vulnerable. You actually have to be more vulnerable so you could actually feel. Most people are not feeling. But that's what you want to look at when you're creating your results. Then you have to look at, currently, do I have the mental toughness to handle the adversity along the way? Because your goal, you're going to go through adversity. Your goal, I promise you, you guys are going to go through adversity. You're going to have to feel that adversity and eat it for breakfast. You're like, oh, good, I'm on the right path. That's what adversity is. I am on the right path. That's what it's telling you. Now, the masses, which I like to call the asses, we don't follow. Because guess what the masses do? They shrink. They constantly shrink and make an excuse. Now think about this. You guys all have a growth mindset or else you wouldn't even be in this room. But there's two different mindsets. There's the growth mindset and there's this fixed mindset. The fixed mindset are the masses who are always blaming everybody else. The growth mindset is asking, what is going to take me to the next level? I've invested this, but there's a better thing out there. And they say, it's not whether they can afford to do it. They say, can I afford not to do it? Can I afford not to do it? Like, Jenna, how many programs have we done together?
6 or 7.
Okay, 6 or 7. Krista, you?
2, 3, 4, 5, I think.
Yeah. These people get it. They get it because why do I have a coach? Because we all have blind spots. There's not an end to personal transformation. It's a beginning. It's always a beginning because you constantly become a new version of yourself. Now, a lot of people will write spiritual contracts to themselves. I'm not doing anything else. That's a fixed mindset. That's a fixed mindset. I encourage you, if you're going to really make things happen, to constantly be upgrading yourself and constantly stop measuring how much of it costs. Ask yourself, can I afford not to do it if it's a good opportunity? That's how you want to start thinking. Now, this is very important. Do your words and action reflect the heart that inspires peak performance in others? Because success is not about us. It's about the value we provide for others. That's what success is. It's not about me. If it was about me, I would be doing something different. It's about the value you provide for others. And so you want to think about it. When you give, you live. But here's the beautiful part of giving. When you give is an act, but reciprocity happens at the exact same time. It may not happen from that person you give to, but it's going to happen. When you let go and give unconditionally. And you want to remember that. And look at how, all I have to ask you is, how am I giving? You know, it'll tell you the story of what you're getting back. Now, is it possible that what you wrote down is going to demand unleashing your greatness? I would say yes. And that's evidence that we're meant to pursue it instead of saying that's too big. What is the number one mistake when somebody sets a goal? They assign a level of difficulty to it before they get started. That's going to be hard. That's going to be a lot of work. That's going to be a lot of work. You know, it's actually less work. Why? Because it's higher energy. That's why it's less work. You know what's harder work? Doing what you're stuck at. Keep doing the same thing, setting 1x, 2x goals. That's hard. You're just trading your time for money. Now, success is never a straight line. It's never linear. It's a roller coaster of up and downs, but a successful person doesn't look at it as up and downs. They look at it as, where do I get to get better? What do I get to fire myself at? You know, that's what they look at. You know, I'm always looking, where can I fire myself? I want to fire myself so I could work on my other ideas. You know, but most business owners are not looking at where to fire themselves, and it's a good place of what to do. Now, world-class performers are never done growing. They consistently keep reinventing themselves. Now, your goal is going to demand you to keep reinventing yourself every day. There's two forms of currency that most people never even think of. What are they? They are your daily personal transformation and how you direct your energy. Those are currencies, and how you're using them is a currency. It's just an invisible currency you don't see. Now, the world class do their greatest work in private. Practice is their work. They are so obsessed with deliberate practice. All right, Ann, I'm going to give it to you again because I asked you to define it for me. Let's see if you got it.
Right.
Deliberate practice.
It's what you see that you are, it's basically a bad habit and you need to let go of it and replace it with something that will help you grow. It's letting go. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
You're getting better.
Okay.
It was a better answer than the last one. Deliberate practice, we want to know inside and out. And deliberate practice is we have a weakness that we really wanted to make our strength. And you practice at that skill. Let's say selling was a weakness for you that you want to make a strength. So you would practice your sales presentation over and over and over again. And you don't stop practicing it until it's automatic, until you've automatized it. Another good one would be communication, leadership. Leadership would be a big one, right? That would be something to really work on deliberate practice. But here's the challenge with deliberate practice. It is super boring. It is monotonous. And you are going to want to go back to your comfort zone of what you're already good at. But it's about drilling your weakness until it becomes a strength. Now, I believe in leveraging everything. But there's certain things I can't leverage. There's certain things that I have to build up my skill set to. Those are things that you would operate in deliberate practice. So that's what deliberate practice is. But you can practice it over and over again and then go back to your comfort zone because it feels easier. That's why deliberate practice is a game changer for entrepreneurs. You know, and I didn't make up the term. Anders Ericsson really brought it into the world. And Anders Ericsson is a psychologist from Stanford. He's done a lot of great work. Do you know who he is? I thought you might. Yeah, so he's done a lot of great work. But world class show up always to grow. And they're constantly practicing until they become great. Now, I will give you the biggest cheat code that will transform your income, just income-wise. The elite of the elite practice until they can't get it wrong. The average practice until they get it right once and they stop doing it. They stop doing it. You know, so until we automatize something, we don't have it. We know about it, but we don't have it. And that's what we want to keep doing. You know, and then the best goal anybody can set is beating your personal best from yesterday. Not beating yourself up from yesterday, but making yesterday's self inferior to today. Now, real transformation requires real honesty. And I'm going to ask you guys a question. And I'd like you to write it down. You never have to share it with me or anybody. But where are you lying to yourself the most right now? Where are you lying to yourself? You know, one day I called Mikey and I said, where are we lying to ourselves? And she goes, we're not. I said, bullshit. I said, we are. So then she started thinking about it and, you know, she's like, oh, probably in this area. And she's like, where do you think? So I told her where I thought. It's a great question. It's not a question where you beat up yourself. It's a question like, where am I not looking at the truth? Where am I not being honest? Because where we're lying to ourselves becomes our greatest opportunity. And guess where we're lying to ourselves is? Where our greatest excuses lie. And where do our greatest excuses come from? Our greatest fear. That's all excuses are. There's an underlying fear. So if we start asking ourselves as business owners, we're going to start unleashing the answer. Because the minute you ask the question, you get the answer literally right away. You'll get it right away. Why? Because when you ask a question, you're neutral. There's no judgment. Now, peak performance, these are the characteristics. They set big goals and they act on them. They execute them. Doesn't mean they execute them great, but they start. They're not afraid to find the negative. They're willing to look at, I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing this well. And they're winners because they find the issues and they fix them. That's what they do. God, why am I blanking on his name? Viktor Frankl. He says, before you find the problem, fix it. You know? And that's what you want to, as an entrepreneur, you have to be 4 steps ahead. You could feel it. You could feel right now, like if you look at your businesses right now, you could feel like what your threats are, what the biggest threats are to your businesses. Don't ignore them. Create the solution before it happens. That's where you're going to change the game in your business. Now, nobody can ever consider them a peak performer if they don't fall in love with repetition. That goes back to deliberate practice. I'll ask people, one of the questions I always ask people is, what are you earning? And the person who doesn't want to tell me, that's a huge red flag for me. Huge red flag. And they don't want to tell me because they're thinking I'm judging them. And they're disappointed by what they're earning, but what they're earning is just an effect. There's nothing to be disappointed about. All we can do is change it if we want to, but if we're not even owning it, then we're already coming from lack. So I always know where their mindset is. Now, let's look at this. What are peak performers? Execution is the key. So I want you guys to build in your identity that I am great at execution. I fail my way forward until I figure it out. It's your ability to perform consistently. That's what execution is. And then you look at your focus. Your ability to lock in on exactly what you want and surrender to the process and embrace the process. That is what is going to get you to where you want to go. And then you look at feedback. Your results are always giving you such great feedback. So if you look at it neutrally, it's going to change the game. So, Jeremy, look at your results this past month, okay? What have they told you?
That I'm going in the right direction.
That's good. They're always giving us feedback. So when they give you feedback, either you change or you adapt and get better at what you're doing. So let's say your results were really bad. Okay? That would give you feedback too, where I would question and say, where's the opportunity here? Where's the opportunity that I'm not seeing? So it'll always tell you. Now, optimal strategies. It's learning from your mistakes and pivoting forward. It's learning from your losses as much as you're learning from your wins. That's where it is. Like, how many people in here have a team? So we've got, most of you have a team, okay? So the optimal strategies is going to be critical for you to look at how the team is performing. And if they're not performing, why they're not performing, and your job as a leader is to course correct it. Your job is to course correct it and bring them up to who they can become. And if you ignore that, then you are the problem, not them. So that's the job of a leader, is to develop more leaders. Now, processes are what's going to rewire and build your confidences. Processes create your results by default. So you've got to stick to it and become obsessive about your processes, that this is what I'm doing 5 days a week. If you do that over 6 months, you're going to change your life. Now, I have clients who've done it for 6 months and they stop doing it. Why do they stop doing it? And I always say, they go, can you give me new process? I say, well, tell me what you're doing. I said, well, you're not doing any of them. And they're like, no, I need new ones. I said, well, are you going to do the new ones? Like, I don't have to give you new ones. Just do the ones that work. Just make it super simple. That's why I said less is more. And that's how you're going to get the results. And mental toughness, that's what builds grit. That's what allows you to conquer yourself, and that's what self-mastery is about. Now ask yourself, how much grit do I have? On a grit scale of 1 to 10, where is my grit? Is it inconsistent? Is my grit really good when my need is really high? Do I put my foot on the gas when sales are going down? Now I'm going to really improve my focus. That's what most people do. But the elite, and for you to transform, grit has to be a part of your identity. It has to be a part of your identity. Now, when you work our model, you're going to get the results. Once you become working inside, success will start happening effortlessly. Now, it'll be hard at times. It'll be messy at times. But in the end, it's going to be great. At the end, it's going to be great. Why? Because I know my model works. And I want to give it to the world. That's why. But most people are coachable up to their comfort zone. So ask each of you, your coachability, is it to your comfort zone, or is it all-in coachability? I want you to really be honest with yourselves. That'll give you a big answer. That'll give you a big answer. Now, peak performance is not only about taking action, but using a proven model. Like if you're not getting the results you want right now, then we've got to reevaluate your model. We've got to reevaluate your disciplines, your consistency, how you serve. Are you serving to get, or are you serving unconditionally? Now, I want you to start breaking your year down into 90 days. I believe every one of you will create a massive quantum leap every 90 days once you expect quantum leaps. Every goal I set, I put it at 90 days, even when they're ridiculously high. Because all I'm working with is possibilities. And I look at every 90 days that I should be creating a quantum leap. Now, if I'm doing the right things and I'm working with the right energy, I'm going to create that. That's what will happen for you. And if you're not, if you haven't created a quantum leap in the last 90 days, all you have to do is go look back to your focus, how you're directing your energy, where your excuses have been. It'll tell you a story. It'll tell you a story. Now, once you commit, it's about 90 days of definiteness. Like, this is what I'm doing no matter what. But don't get attached to the result. I always know when the quantum leap is coming by my emotional state or by my client's emotional state before it comes. But most people are what? They're comparing it. I didn't hit my goal, so they feel bad. Instead of understanding, exponential growth is so deceptive. It is so deceptive because when you're in it, you're not going to see it. Your five senses are going to be the last part of you that see it. The last part of you that see it. And then I watch people all the time, and I used to do it, so I can speak to this, is wiping out all the good they've done because they haven't seen the result. They change what they're doing, and then they keep going in a circle of doom. Now, you'll know if you're doing the right things. If you're doing the right things. You'll know it. I was telling the story a few weeks ago. I texted Mikey a few weeks ago. I was in Flagstaff, and I said, this was one of our best weeks. I said, I think it was our best week we ever had. But if you looked at the results would not have said it was our best week, but what systems we created, I knew what was coming. I knew what was coming. And it was the best because we disrupted comfort. You have to constantly disrupt comfort. But this business that you're all in, this goal that you all have, is about you. Raz, it's about you. Your business is about you. Our business is always a direct reflection of us. As we grow, so does our business. So if you have not taken your transformation seriously, I think today would be a great start to break through. Because the more you transform, the more consistent you are, the more your business is going to grow. So you want to understand that.